and welcome to our review of the 83rd Tour de France so far. I'm Phil Liggett and I hope you're enjoying the coverage of this great event. The race began in Holland at the town of Hertogenbosch, where it hosted the start of the 3,900 kilometres race to Paris with a prologue time trial on June the 29th. It was here where the Swiss star Alex Zülle got the best of the 197 starters. He was the first wearer of the leader's yellow jersey. He held it for 2 days, and then it passed to the Frenchman Frédéric Moncassin, who lost it the very next day to his teammate Stefan Erlo. Erlo gave up in the Alps on the same day that five-time winner Miguel Indurain faltered, and he lost 4 minutes. At the start of the second week, it was the Russian rider Evgeny Berzin who held the lead. Having won the Alpine time trial, he was ahead by 43 seconds. And as that second week started, it dawned with snow covering the two big Alpine giants of the Col de l'Iseran and the Col du Galibier. It caused the cancellation of the two highest climbs of the Tour de France this year. The riders were instead packed into cars for a wintry journey over the high Alps. And it was not just the snow on the Iseran either, but also the 100 km/h winds on top of the Galibier. For the tired riders it was a bonus, but for those who felt they could win overall, a major stage was now nullified. All that remained were the last 46 kilometres. But in this great race, the riders again turned on the style. In particular, the Dane Bjarne Riis. He was out in front on the road to Sestriere, looking for a yellow jersey. Heading up towards the kite, coming up to the last kilometre. Bjarne Riis is beginning to sell out. The stage may be his. We'll have to wait for the time to see if the yellow is as well.
But what's more important to Bjarne Riis is to keep going, to keep the pressure on, because he needs to finish 43 seconds ahead of Evgeny Berzin to try and get the yellow jersey as well. But he doesn't look to me as if he's going to weaken. He's had a chance to look over his shoulders and see just how far behind the rest of the field are.
And let's not forget either, Paul, that Abraham Olano is only 45 seconds behind the leader. So it's going to be a tough old tussle, this one. There's Luc Leblanc. He's heading up to the kilometre banner now. And he's closing in. The gap between Leblanc and Bjarne Riis at 1 kilometre to go is 30 seconds precisely. Looking down to the group, they're going to be at 36 seconds.
And still, it's Miguel Indurain who's setting the pace. He's riding the climbs the way he knows how to. He's riding at his own tempo, waiting for the climbers to attack. He does not try to match their acceleration, but brings his own speed up slowly.
Miguel Indurain, well, if he wants to win this Tour de France, he must attack now. He can't defend any longer because he's lost too much time. He's in a very, very unusual position in a Tour de France, but he is certainly by no means riding like a man who intends to give up. He is going to stay there. Escartín and Udo Boltz hanging on for the life of a kilometre to go. Jan Ullrich has also given best there. The first time he's seen the young German in trouble. Bjarne Riis is going to win the stage, which he richly deserves. He attacked right out halfway up the climb of Mont Genève. There's a massive Danish audience also here at the summit, and of course he's live on television back home in Copenhagen. He is a superstar. Bjarne Riis is going to hit the line. I think yellow will await him. The clock will tell us that very, very shortly. That mouth couldn't be much wider. It's as wide as the tunnel of Fréjus where we all came through yesterday. Coming up to the line now, Bjarne Riis is going to zip up and salute the crowd. The stage is certainly going to be his, but will the yellow jersey follow? The riders are closing in on him all of the time. We're likely to see the little legs of Luc Leblanc in the top of our picture very shortly, but for now we'll settle to Bjarne Riis, the winner of the stage. 46 kilometres today. It's done an awful lot of damage. Here comes Leblanc being chased by Richard, Virenque, Guirini. No, Leblanc on the left, and now we've got Richard, Virenque, Indurain tagged onto the back of him. The shadow is Toni Rominger, but Leblanc will cross the line. He will be 24 seconds down. Then Virenque, Miguel Indurain beaten by Toni Rominger in the sprint to the line, and then comes Udo Boltz in fact. Jan Ullrich has hit the wall a little bit. So it'll be Udo Boltz followed by Frédéric Escartín, and then Jan Ullrich, and then Peter Luttenberger. The clocks are counting down. Where is Evgeny Berzin? The new leader of the Tour de France will be Bjarne Riis as the maillot jaune comes up to the finish. He must go down in record of having held it for the shortest distance. The maillot jaune comes in over 1 minute behind today. What an extraordinary stage, but we're coming to expect these types of stages now in this year's Tour de France. There'll be more to come of that, I am sure. The clock counts down. Evgeny Berzin is out of the leader's yellow jersey, and in fact he will slip away a little bit in the overall classification, but he'll be back, believe me. So Riis had won at Sestriere, the only stage finish in Italy, taking over the race lead by 40 seconds. Miguel Indurain was also climbing back. He was now up to 8th. The next morning the sun had found the Tour, and after starting from Turin in Italy, the race headed back into France and the finishing gap. It started badly though for the French, with the retirement of Laurent Jalabert, who was ill, and only a shadow of the man who had finished 4th a year ago. The German Telekom team had worked hard to contain the attacks, and as the finish approached, it was another Dane, Rolf Sørensen, on a rival squad who was clear. The Telekom team though wanted to catch him for a special reason. If their Erik Zabel won the sprint, then the German outfit would have both the yellow jersey and the green jersey for the race's only rest day in Gap. So now, coming down towards the finish, Sørensen is still in front, and the kilometres ticking off very quickly. Looks over now, will seize old teammate Bruno Kengialta after him at the 5-kilometre banner.
Well, it's going to be very tough. Kengialta, don't forget, was the man who crashed on that stage in 1993. In fact, when Riis was the man who went on to win the stage, they were coming up, and one of the motorbikes turned off in front of him, and he lost the stage. He'd love to get a stage victory here, and he knows that if he can get up to this man, Rolf Sørensen, that the chance is there that he could just stay in front of the main field, because we're less than 5 kilometres to go.
Well, what a great time trial and what a great pursuit this is. Sørensen now is going to be picked up certainly by Bruno Kengialta. Kengialta is on a ride here. He's a member of Gaywiz, which means that Evgeny Berzin's team will not chase now. There'll be no more help for the Telekoms behind, but the Telekoms know that by the finish they will still have the race leader of this Tour as it comes to a rest day. But what they really wanted was this race to be together, so that Erik Zabel hopefully would have taken out the bunch sprint and become the new leader of the race on points. Under the banner, 4 kilometres to go. Kengialta is nearly on, but very worried about the bunch behind.
But he keeps looking over his shoulder just to see how far behind they are. In fact, they're going under the banner at the same time. Sørensen has not given up. He's still got a little bit of energy left. He gets out of the saddle, forcing himself to stay clear as we go back to see what's happening in the main field.
Well, there's the long, thin line. They're almost all together. Sørensen is hanging out front, his bright orange jersey looking rather like a carrot now, as they're all coming up to him, because Kengialta is nearly on. There's Sørensen over the top of that wall, by the way. You can see the city of Gap, and so too can these two now. But you know, although Kengialta was almost on, Paul, it's now he really can't cross the gap.
He can't bridge those last 20 or 30 metres. In fact, Sørensen has accelerated again there. He got over the top of that climb. He was suffering, and once he's got onto the downhill, he picks his speed up again to 30-40 miles an hour, and Kengialta, I think, now has blown it. He can't close the last few metres on Sørensen.
Well, this has been an amazing stretch of racing here, and I'm just wondering if Sørensen now is going to hold out here. That might have been the psychological move. Kengialta felt he was going to catch him, and now I think he realises he can't. Just behind our camera is the whole field chasing down on Bruno Kengialta. There's still a chance. 3 kilometres to go into Gap.
Well, he's in the outskirts of Gap now. This man behind Kengialta just cannot bridge on Sørensen. He's trying everything. He's cutting the corners. The roads are completely closed, so the riders know they don't have to worry about anything coming the opposite way. But Sørensen now is riding like a man possessed. He's got everything to do. He's got to explode his body. He's got to feel his muscles about to shred, but he must keep going because he's given so much to this stage.
Into town, makes the right turn. He'll be lining up for the finish very shortly. A huge crowd welcomes the Tour de France back home here. And Gap is one of the most popular finishes in the Tour de France over the years. Greg LeMond has ridden well here, and so too has the great Dutchman Jelle Neidem. He won here a couple of years ago, 1989 I think it was. And now we've got, coming up to the line, Rolf Sørensen. He sees 2 kilometres to go. These are going to be a very long 2 kilometres.
Well, in fact, Bruno Kengialta just hasn't been able to. It looked as he shot out of the main field there as if he was going to ride straight across that gap to Sørensen. But once Sørensen got onto the downhill, he really recuperated very quickly, picked up his speed, and now he's in a little tuck position, gets out of the saddle, still fighting. 8 seconds is his gap at the moment over Bruno Kengialta and 10 seconds over the main field.
What a great tour the Danes are having. The race leader, the stage winner yesterday. Now he could well be having a #2 day for Denmark with victory here. Kenny Alter is swept up by the Telekoms. They're ready to launch their man, Erik Zabel, at the finish. They may well not catch Sorensen, but they could still catch that green jersey of Moncassin. Sorensen still working at it, and very shortly now he will see the red triangle in the sky. 1 kilometre to go when he gets there.
Well, the last time he was looking for a kilometre ban, it was to take him to the top of that climb, and that is the one he's looking for now. Just 1 kilometre left to go to the finish. Looks very much like Alex Zuller is trying to jump clear here. He's trying to get a little bit of time on Bjarne Riis in the yellow jersey, but Riis now takes over. He's chasing down the Swiss rider, and all the time Sorensen fighting to stay alone in front. 5 seconds, I think, is the gap over the main field.
5 seconds inside 1,000 metres to the line, and Alex Zuller, can you believe, he's trying to roar the whole lot of them off. Well, seconds, he wants minutes overall to take that jersey back from Bjarne Riis, but it will be a show of defiance. Alex Zuller may well come back and recover after the rest day tomorrow. The long straight avenue of trees to the line now. Rolf Sorensen has got to just hang there and hope he can hold it, but when the field open up with all cylinders, it's unlikely he'll survive, and we're going to come up to 500 metres to go, and the sprint is beginning behind. They're almost on him now as they close in quickly. Sorensen is dying in midstream as the sprinters move up. That's Yekimov trying to move up on the left, trying to do something to slow them down, but watch out for Zabel. Zabel in the middle as he moves across to grab Yekimov's wheel, and they've gone to on the inside with Abdu Jafarov there. Now there's a lot of switching going on. Zabel didn't want to leave so soon. Abdu Jafarov has got his back wheel now, and it's going to be Erik Zabel who's going to get it. At the end of the day, Telekom are going to celebrate because Zabel will have the green, Riis will have the yellow. Erik Zabel gets his second stage win of the tour. He got 2 last year and through on the inside, but he didn't get it. Abdu Jafarov failed right on the line. Erik Zabel gets the win, and that means that the Telekom team are in green and yellow tonight. What a finish. So Zabel had done his job well, and as the race arrived for its day off, the German team had now won 3 stages, held the lead in the green and the yellow jersey competitions, and also were on top in the team classification as well. Racing resumed after the day off with a farewell to the Alps and the stories they had created. Bjarne Riis and his German Telekom team took control at the head of the field for most of the day, while a small group of riders looking only for the stage win, they took off up the road to Valence. With a lead of more than 2 minutes and none of them endangering Riis's yellow jersey, and attacking the final kilometre gave victory to the unknown Colombian rider, Kepi Gonzalez. Never before had a rider from the South American country won a sprint. Normally they are mountain specialists, so Gonzalez, the smallest man in the field at 1.57 meters, enjoyed his moment. Overall, there was no change at all. The race was now heading west as it continued its journey towards its rendezvous with the Pyrenees. The hottest day of the race greeted the riders as they crossed the stunning scenery of France's Massif Central. It was a day for fun, and while some tested gravity off Roman viaducts, others in the Tour de France took advantage of the slumbering field to make big-time gains. 9 riders escaped after only 10 of the near 150 kilometres 12th stage, and as they approached the finish, they held the biggest lead of the race so far. Over 15 minutes was their advantage, but none was close enough to endanger the overall leader, Bjarne Riis. The honour of a stage win, though, was uppermost in all of their minds as they raced towards Le Puy-en-Velay. We go down the hill now, in towards the town centre of Puy. Then it's a slight rise up to the finish. Not a hill at all, but it could force you to make a misjudgment of the line.
Well, is there going to be a reenactment of yesterday, because the man at the back here, number 75, Garcia Casas, he hasn't been to the front over the last 4 or 5 kilometres, and he obviously watched the television last night, and he'll be hoping that that move can work 2 times. But now I think Laurent has decided he's going to dedicate himself completely to Jesper Skibby in the hope that that man from Denmark can be the fastest in the sprint.
Melchior Mari just thrown off his drinking bottle as we go into the 1 kilometre to go kite. It's a psychological thing, it makes you feel that little bit lighter. Now we're into the narrow streets here. Look at this massive crowd here in Le Puy to welcome the Tour de France and the breakaways who've been out front virtually the whole day today. Ever since we rolled away in beautiful sunshine, it's been a hot day as well, and it's going to be a pretty hot finish.
Well, they're all queuing up now. Eric Brookings at the back there, waiting for one last chance. Flavio Vanzella moving up down the outside. This man has been out for most of the season, but Laurent Roux is turning up the screws at the front there with Skibby in an ideal position.
Skibby in an absolutely ideal position now. He's got the team of little Laurent Roux, who's tried himself to get away without success. Moving up onto the wheel of Skibby in orange is Danny Nelson. Creeping up on the outside in blue is Vanzella. And Vanzella goes for the wheel, but he's lost it because, in fact, Skibby's got the wheel of Nelson now. As Nelson winds up for the line, Skibby looks like the man. He's won a stage in the past. Now Skibby's on the wheel of Danny Nelson. Nelson this time going for it. Surely he's not going to be beaten again like he was at Lac de Madine. But watch out for Pascal Richard. Richard's going to get it on the line. And on the left, Mirko Gualdi. But Pascal Richard coming right up the line. Takes it easily on the line. Skibby second, Gualdi third. Fourth will be Danny Nelson. Fifth will be the Spanish rider Garcia. Well, what an amazing sprint, but we thought that Pascal Richard was the danger, and he read it perfectly. Then, after a quarter of an hour had passed by, the field arrived with the German Eric Zabel tightening his grip on the green jersey competition by taking 11 more points as he wins the group sprint for 10th place. Overall, there was once more no change among the leaders, and Bjarne Riis still held an advantage of 40 seconds over the Russian Evgeny Berzin, just as he had done for the past 4 days. The race continued across France's most volcanic area, using narrow roads with steep undulations. It was a chance for the contenders to challenge Bjarne Riis. And with Miguel Indurain's Banesto team on the attack most of the day, Riis's Telekom team was reduced to himself and just 2 other riders. As the last hills approached to Superbès, the dogfight began. And so, Richard Virenque and Luc Leblanc catch the second portion of the breakaway. It will just leave in front Salvadello, Sorensen and Bastille. And Virenque is going to go straight by the look at it. These are the leaders. Sorensen looking very concerned as they've gone over the top, led over by Salvadelli and followed by Bartoli. And now Luc Leblanc is going. Now can Richard Virenque hang on to his former teammate? Because they're still picking up riders. There's another rider just in front of Leblanc here.
Well, that was a great attack there. Looks like they're picking up Pat Jonker, who was out on the road. He's been dropped now, and he'll be caught very soon by Chris Boorman's group and probably by the yellow jersey group of Bjarne Riis. They pick up another rider there, which looks very much to me as if it's Michele Bartoli, who was at the head of affairs for such a long time. Luc Leblanc is really trying to win on home turf.
Well, this is amazing. I think there are only 2 riders left up front, Salvadelli and Sorensen. These riders spread all over the mountain today.
Don't forget Miguel Indurain's teammate Rodriguez there, who was part of that 3-man leading group. They've only got a couple of kilometres to go. Once they get over the top of this incline here, it really is quite an easy run into the finish. And again, on the slope, Luttenberger decides he's going to have a go.
And Luc Leblanc has gone through on yet another rider there. Well, he'll come back to us very shortly. And there he is, and the rider who's gone past our window there is now Salvadelli. So I think only Sorensen and Rodriguez remain in front here with a couple of kilometres to go to the finish. There they are. And so, you know, it may be Indurain's there, at least with his team.
It may be, but there's a lot of panic coming through there. All of the team cars are pushing by, and in fact, Luc Leblanc has them in his sights.
This is a tremendous ride over these last few kilometres by Leblanc, the man who was lying unconscious on the first day of the Tour after a crash which has put him rather a long way down the overall. He now lies 12th overall, 7 minutes and 8 seconds behind. He has forced his way back into the picture. Now he catches the last 2 men of that original breakaway, Sorensen and the teammate of Miguel Indurain, Rodriguez. Now he's got a shot at gold again.
But Bjarne Riis there at the front in the yellow jersey, picking up the remnants of Chris Boorman's group there. They're all going by.
And there's Chris Boorman being passed now by the yellow jersey group, but he had a real go today. And Bjarne Riis trying to control Luc Leblanc because Leblanc looks more serious every day. And now here comes Virenque and he's caught Leblanc. We now have 4 men up front. Remember, exactly 1 week ago when Indurain was having terrible trouble at Les Arcs, it was Luc Leblanc, number 111, who won the stage that day. And he could well do it again now.
But it's going to be a tricky finish, though, because Rolf Sorensen, number 88, won't want to get beaten again. He was so close to the victory there a couple of days ago in Gap, just before the rest day, and he will watch these 2 riders and knows now that he's the fastest man in the sprint. But you know, you could be right, Miguel Indurain's teammate Orlando Rodriguez may well surprise them all.
Well, that would be some consolation indeed as they come onto the flatter roads and onto the kilometre. We're on the plateau now, more or less, at Superbès. It kicks up a little bit to the line, but it's nothing serious enough to spoil the sprint perhaps for people who misjudge it. There's Pat Jonker. He's been put back in the group now. Chris Boardman's the third man up the line. And this is the chase group. Well, Chris has done well to hang on to this group now.
Well, it's a flat ride all the way to the finish line now as we've got these four leaders, and it's a tricky finish amongst all of them because Luc Leblanc, not the fastest sprinter in the world, but he looks today like a man possessed. He's really ridden strongly. He's attacked so many times, and you can see now just moving into third position that probably the ideal position for the sprint is Rolf Sorensen, but watch out for the man at the back, number 8.
Sorensen is going to take no chances. He's worried about Rodriguez, but look at this coming shooting through on the inside is Salvadelli, I think.
Looks very much as if he made an incredible comeback there. I don't know where he came from, but he's taken them all by surprise.
Well, they've switched across the road and grabbed his wheel. This is a lovely wide finishing straight, 400 metres to go. Luc Leblanc sitting at the back. He'll make his dive, I think, at around 250. Because he'll have the advantage of surprise, and there he goes. Luc Leblanc is going to try and take them as the sprint begins now. Leblanc is on the left here. Sorensen this time is trying to make amends. He grits his teeth. Short way around the corner. Rodriguez is after him now. There's a beautiful shot as now the Dane is going to get the stage at last. As Rodriguez, I don't think, has got the strength to come off him. Rodriguez lips his lips as he comes round that very sharp bend now. Richard Virenque digs deep, but this time Rolf Sorensen gets it on the line. Rodriguez is second, Virenque is third, Leblanc is fourth, and that was a deserved result for Rolf Sorensen. Now, we're sprinting here, I think it's for the 6th place. Chris Boardman on the right, the yellow jersey of Bjarne Riis. Boardman brings them around the corner. Chris in with a chance of a good sprint finish at last, but on the right goes Miguel Indurain to prove a point. He gets the place, Boardman just behind him. Then comes Dufaux and the rest of the group, including the yellow jersey. Now, this is the group that has lost time. Toni Rominger looking around in that blue cap. He has lost a little bit of time today as he swings into the home straight. He's the big name that has lost time today. Virenque and Leblanc has gained a little bit. Ullrich as well has lost time. And at the back of that group is also Evgeny Berzin. 3 big names concede a few seconds. Riis had withstood his first day under attack with full marks. He gained time over Toni Rominger and Evgeny Berzin, and now led the world champion Abraham Olano by 56 seconds. Down was Berzin and Rominger, and Miguel Indurain, who finished 6th, gained no time at all. He remained in 8th place, over 4.5 minutes behind. Stage 14 and Bastille Day in France, another beautiful day in the Auvergne. But as the riders headed towards Toul from Besse in mid-France, a simple crash changed the face of the day. Down on the ground was Eric Zabel in his green points jersey, and he was delayed waiting for a new bike. Bjarne Riis, realising that Miguel Indurain and Toni Rominger had both been trapped by the crash, he called the race onto the attack. He moved clear in a large group of riders, and behind, Indurain's team was forced to chase. At one time, the gap was as high as a minute. The chase lasted for 30 kilometres before the field finally regrouped. The speed had been high, 90 kilometres covered in the first 2 hours of racing. Once the field was together, the race pattern changed, and as Toul approached, an ageing sprinter was clear and looking for his first uphill win on a stage of the Tour de France. Here is the little man with the big heart, Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, heading up towards the finish. Once a sprinter, now a climber, as Mirko Gualdi, I think he's just about to sell out here, and Laurent Madouas would do well to go round him.
Well, if he can, but both of these riders suffering. They've attacked twice at the bottom of the climb, trying to get across there, but Abdu-Japarov in the front is just keeping his own tempo. He knows he has to survive. They're in one of the steepest parts of the climb here. You can see both of the riders out of the saddle, fighting with their bikes, just trying to get up to Abdu-Japarov, who now has about a 150-metre lead.
And I think he knows he's done enough, but now his face is one of pain. But very soon it'll be one of joy, because he's rounding up towards the finish. And Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, I think, is going to win this stage. They're not going to catch him now. That grimace is slowly turning to a smile as they count down to the finishing line. Here he comes now, the man who has been the champion sprinter of the Tour de France, and that green jersey is now going to show them he can win at road race stages as well, even when they finish uphill.
Oh, what a great move by Abdu-Japarov. He's used all of his experience. He's going to take one of the greatest victories, I think, and he will cherish that as he comes across the line to win here. The sprint behind is going to go to Gualdi, who's just outspaced Laurent Madouas as they come up to the line. They look back, and what a move by Abdu-Japarov.
And Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov's win, his 9th in 7 tours, was a popular one. But with the leaders all finishing together some 5 minutes later, overall there was no change at all. The Dane Bjarne Riis was now 1 week away from Paris and had held the leader's jersey for almost a week. His advantage, 56 seconds over the world champion Abraham Olano. Evgeny Berzin was third. Miguel Indurain was still there in 8th place and wondering now just how he could recoup his lost 4 minutes 38 seconds. He had only 7 days left to work it out. Over the 2 weeks of racing, the 198 riders have been decimated, with a third of the field giving up. The last man nearly 3 hours behind now. A tough tour, yes, but a vintage one also. In the last week of the Tour, there are still many who can win this race, including Indurain. A great finale is assured. Until we meet again, I'm Phil Liggett saying goodbye.